What's up, everybody? Welcome to Country Basement. We can't have no fun today.
No
Ben's
fun.
not feeling well and won't be here, but this is Fun in the Country Basement. Thank you for coming. Christopher, take it, friend.
What's that? Your audio cut out there. What did you say?
Well, I said take it from here, buddy.
Oh, okay.
I
Hello,
don't know what.
everyone. We have a country basement today. Yes, Glenn is not feeling well, but we will do our best to fill in all the information that he usually does for us. Like thank you for coming, and website information, and all that good stuff, and who we're being sponsored by, which is no one currently, but maybe someday. So, it's another Sunday, Fun in the Country Basement. I don't know what I'm working on. I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. It's pretty cool down here, so maybe I'll complain about that for 2 hours. I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I ain't gonna say nothing. It's pretty cool down here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. God dang it. It's not as cold as there though. I couldn't do 12 degrees.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
It looks like my video should be smoothing out according to what it's sending out now.
Yes, it is much better now.
Sweet. I don't know, man. Maybe it was this laptop doing it. I don't know. Well, as Chris said, this is Fun in the Country Basement. The fun's not here, but we will do our best to tell you to go to funcountrybasement.com and subscribe to each one of us, including Glenn, who's not here. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here. We do appreciate it. I'm Walter at Country 3D, and I don't know if Chris told you where you can find him, but I'm pretty sure you know because he's the Chris Riley and shall always be. But anyway, welcome to that. Chris, did you think of any topics we could discuss this week? Because our great listeners sent me zero ideas.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few miscellaneous things that we can talk about here and there. I don't want to spoil any of my content for anyone, but I have been doing a lot of experimenting this week, and we could talk about some of that. But no, I didn't receive any topics either. So,
Man, this is a family friendly show. Experimenting should have been done in college.
yeah, I went to college late, so I didn't get to experiment then either.
I only went to college to pick my daughters up. University of Hard Knocks. Well, thank you, Betty Boop 45, and everybody else that said something about the way I look. That's great. Fantastic. Great. Thank you. Corey Mack can go back out and go surfing. It's 72 in Southern California right now.
Woo. Nice.
Yeah, Chris, you said it. The high was 12 degrees.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Yeah. There's no sense in that.
Teresa's here. She says she's here for the fun. Sorry,
she's here Teresa. For the fun. Well, then I'm sorry, Teresa. It's not a update on the Stargate. Timothy Harkness wants to know about the Stargate. It has not moved. It has not grown legs. It has not evolved in anything other than a piece of plastic sitting over here on my floor. No, I have not worked on it. I have not worked on anything. A lot of you follow me on Facebook, so you've found out that I'm doing a little side hustle. Well, that has kept me busy as all get out. I actually drove to Georgia yesterday for a setup, which, sounds like a long way, but it's like an hour and a half. So, it ain't like forever away, but still, Robert Riggins comes in, says, I'm looking trim. I let you know right now, I stepped on the scale this morning, 213 pounds, down from 270. So,
nice.
Yeah. It's all right. Clothes are getting bigger. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So, we'll get it straight.
Preventing clogging on an all-metal hot end. Can't have more retraction than 1-2 on your 3 clone. Well, on an all-metal hot end for PLA on a direct drive extruder, 1-2 is kind of high, actually. I would like to see that. If you I don't know what hot end that is. What did he say? Which one? No. Something like a V6. If you have a direct drive, relatively short filament path, I'd like to see that under 1. That could be part of the problem. Heat creep, depending on what fan you're using. Maybe you need a little more fan. Um, you could try to boron paste the barrel one more time, try to get just a little bit more heat out of that barrel when you're printing. That might help. But all kinds of good things.
Got to turn the microphone on or you can't hear what I'm saying. I'm
Nope,
sitting
can't
here
hear me.
flapping my gum. Anyway, Sean Gould said he's been using Clipper with the SKR 1.3 board the last week or so. He's impressed with the current release. Last time he used it was a year and a half ago. Been doing great so far. Question though, I've been looking at going with the Duet for that Hypercube Evo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything cheaper I can go with? Because that's just a lot of money just for a board. I mean, I don't want to go ramps. I want to go something decent, that I can put Octoprint on or whatever to print with.
Yeah.
But something that handles the Evo better than maybe ramps will do.
Yeah.
Something with quiet drivers.
Something with quiet drivers. Yeah. Well, and that's one of the big benefits of Duet, right? Landscape has changed just a little bit on certain things like that, especially since we started getting our hands on Duet 2. Things have changed from then to now a lot. It used to be you'd go to Duet because you got 2660s. They were a little larger scale driver, but they put them on the board and they ran a lot cooler because they were integrated driver chips. And you got the 32-bit and the Wi-Fi interface and all the good stuff there that you really didn't have so much on even the high-end 8-bit boards. Well, now there are so many 32-bit boards out that are cheap, and Marlin 2.0 is official, so the software is relatively easy to configure. And you have 2209s, which are relatively inexpensive as well. So now you get all the benefits of Duet on a board that costs less than $30. You throw some drivers on top of that, you could probably get the whole thing for less than 60.
Right.
So yeah, I mean the SKR boards, they're after you got all of it configured, firmware and everything, and got your drivers on there, you would have everything except the web interface pretty much Duet. You would have all of that except that web interface, and then Octoprint could do that portion.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, when I get to building that thing, I'm going to come back to you, and we're going to sit down and figure out an electronics package for it that works good, or that will work good. Because all the parts are there, I believe. I do need to reprint some things in PETG because all he had was some white PLA, and he put everything in white PLA. But I was also looking at maybe somehow or another going with a direct drive extruder on it, using because I have the probe from the Prusa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I could find a Hypercube Evo Prusa Bondtech probe or extruder, I've got all the gears and everything that I'd need to make that Bondtech extruder on there. Now it makes the head heavier, but there are definitely advantages to go into a direct if you want to do flexibles or whatever. Then I could just have a feeding tube, that feeds it from the spool.
Yeah.
So
no,
that's something. Go ahead.
No, that would be cool. The setup, and that's a pretty large machine too. The setup on it might be like if you wanted to go something direct drive like Hemera, like if you want to slap one of those on there, you'd be adding quite a bit of weight. But I mean, if you got your speed, acceleration, and all the values set just so, you might not be able to print the fastest in the world, but you'd probably get some pretty awesome results. And you would have all this build area to go with, to match with it. So that'd be cool.
Well, like I was asked a while ago, what's the status of the Stargate? Well, one problem that I have with the Stargate, and a lot of people don't realize it doesn't line up. If I put it all together right now, it's going to take quite a bit of filler and sanding to get it to look correct, right? So basically what I was thinking was if I can get that Hypercube Evo set up and built, then I can print them in one shot. Because he has some that are full size, ready to go just to print them. But that's what I want to do. I want to print them in one piece. That way they just fit on top of each other no gluing them together, none of that stuff. It'll look a lot better, I believe. But
Mhm.
I want to get something that will print very well, like a Prusa or even my TiVo when it's acting straight, or my Mark II or something. I really want something that prints with that quality, even the Ender 3 quality. I mean, it's a good printer. So even
Yeah.
that quality in my Hypercube, that's what I want to get.
Yeah.
And I don't want to build just a Hypercube and go, okay, I've got a 500 by 500 by 500 Hypercube. I want one that's, if I want to build 400 by 400 by 400, it will do it, and it will do it well.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
yeah,
it,
I completely understand. That's oh, there's because of that fact, the hypercube rage, like there's a lot of hypercube builds out there, a lot of different versions of it. But it was designed a certain way,
right.
but definitely it's a great platform to take it in another direction. So I mean, direct drive would be a pretty cool mod if you could get it all sorted out.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, it would be some good YouTube content for me when I start back up doing my YouTube content, where I could get James or somebody on to walk me through designing it in Fusion.
Yeah.
Taking the Mark III extruder, or the Humera, or whatever it's called. Which, what is that running right now? Because right now, we got the Copperheads coming from
Yeah.
Slice Engineering, sweet. And if I could do that and put a Copperhead on it, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, Humera is an all in one package, hot end extruder, the whole 9 yards, all in one case.
Right.
And I think they're right around $100 right now.
Okay.
But I
Well,
mean,
I mean,
if you even like if you had to buy a Titan and a V6, that's probably $130 worth
right.
of stuff. So
Did you hear that?
I did, but I only heard it through your mic.
Oh,
Oh, that's
oh,
because
really?
we're on StreamYards, right?
Yeah, but it should be going through. Anyway, now I've
Yeah.
got the what you call it hooked up over here. It should be going through there. Any way to hook up a Android device for 32-bit screen? And thank you for the $2, by the way, Bryce. I do appreciate it. Da-da-da-da. Well, I mean, with Duet, you can use the web interface, so there you would have a screen, but I don't know. You'd have to use the USB input somehow to emulate the screen on the two. I don't think so. I don't think it's doable right now. I don't think anybody's wrote the software or whatever to do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
3D Jimmy said the Humera right now is $120.
Okay.
So,
I want to say I saw 109 or something. I don't know.
uh,
That sounds right.
Thunder 911 says, "What's a copperhead?" Well, it's a snake here in the South that you don't want to get bitten by,
Mm-hmm.
and they're almost as mean as cottonmouths, but they're not. They're not quite as bad. Now, Slice Engineering did a Kickstarter for a new hot end. It's called the Copperhead, and it has now been funded, and they should be on their way to people. I guess they're. Have you gotten yours yet, Chris?
I have not, but
I don't know if they've started shipping or whatever.
yeah.
Okay, how about a 7 or 8 inch TFT for 32-bit boards? Well, the problem is the operating shit, the firmware for them. I don't think Marlin 2 handle 7 or 8 inch TFTs? Because if it does, then it's just a TFT, right?
Yeah, I mean, they'll handle the serial communication between the two, but the screen has to do all the work still. But I don't know of one that big. I don't know if there's a 7 TFT or not. I guess there might be. I haven't looked.
Well, I mean, I know there are 7 or 8 inch TFTs out there that you can use for the Arduino boards and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it should be decently straightforward, maybe, to get it running in Marlin.
Well, in that I don't know natively. I mean, you could so there's a lot of projects, open source projects, where so if you get the screens that have a SMT32 chip or something on them, then you can flash those boards. That you can flash the boards on the screen with that firmware, and then all you have to do is send that firmware the serial input back and forth. So
Right.
that firmware that you load on the screen would do all the work. Now natively, I'm not like have Marlin produce the image to the screen. I'm not sure. I've
Yeah.
never tried it.
Bob S and Ronnie Julian, thank you. I will check Twitter and I will look at that thingy thing for let me copy that. Matter of fact, I can't copy it. Won't let me copy it. God dang it. Anyway, Bob S, can you send that to me in an email? It won't let you copy from these comments on StreamYard. But thank you for those. I will look into it. Yes, the screen comes with 32-bit chips. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always something that we like to laugh about in our nerdy way. But you put this TFT screen on this board that has ramps running on it, and you've got like 1,000 times more processor on the screen than you do on the whole printer.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, but isn't there what's that firmware where you could use the 32-bit processor to do all the processing and then kick it over to ramps?
Yeah, Clipper.
Clipper? Yeah. So maybe you could load Clipper on the screen.
I don't know.
Teresa says direct driver die. I don't know about that.
Well,
I actually like the Bowden setup on the TiVo because, man, you know, direct drive on a Delta is kind of heavy.
Yeah.
But
I've been thinking about getting my Delta out and seeing if it still works, but you know, that's on a list of a whole lot of projects.
You know what? You need to design a Chris Riley Delta.
Yeah, in fact, I think he's in the chat. Yeah, Steven was poking me about building a Delta the other day. And you know, I wouldn't mind building a Delta. But it is definitely no Cartesian build, I can tell you that.
Well, the thing is, though, now there's one that I saw a couple of British dudes put together, and I can't ever remember the name of it, but it's as big as the TiVo.
Mm-hmm.
And that sucker put together pretty quickly and printed right out of the box, like nobody's business. And I'm pretty sure they can tell me what it is. It's a big, I forgot what the name of it was. But it's a monster Delta printer for $600 or $700, I think.
Yeah, I know. Anycubic's got a pretty good sized Delta. I guess it's a pretty straightforward kit. I don't remember what it's called. I guess Predator. I think Scott has one.
Yeah, but that thing was from what I was looking at. No, well, that's that one, right? That's not the one I was talking about, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, the one I was talking about is it's like a 500 by 300 build volume or something like that. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sean Gould's right. A direct drive Delta would have to be called the Sledgehammer. Oh, Steven says that is the Predator, but I don't think it was an Anycubic.
Under $400? Wow, that's a steal.
Oh, you must be watching live comments because I'm watching them through StreamYard. They're delayed.
Yeah, I'm watching on YouTube.
Let me go see what the Anycubic Predator looks like. That might be it, man. That might be the one I was talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, scratch building a Delta, it wouldn't be. I mean, I don't think it would be a huge deal until you got down to actually sitting down and doing the math. And it can be done, especially if you scratch built it. You would know all your lengths, and I'm sure there's calculators out there that you can plug all that stuff in. But the calibration is such that if you scratch built one, there would be some. It wouldn't, like an i3 machine. I'm pretty confident that I could sit down and throw one together, no matter how bad it was, and get it to print. A Delta, I'd probably actually have to sit down and think about for a minute.
Well, the thing about it is, though, as long as you have your 3 posts the same height and your arms the same length, calibration's really not that difficult.
Yeah.
And that is the Predator that I was talking about. It's 370 by 450, and I just saw it 379, I think, when I did my little Google search real quick.
Nice.
That's not bad. I mean, that's a really decent price for a large Delta. So,
yeah, Deltas just aren't as common.
Old curmudgeon said, "I think I'd love a 500 Core XY printer. The only way he's going to get one is to win a contest." So, and that's one thing that's coming. I forget his name. John, maybe. Old curmudgeon. Do you remember his name? I met him in person. Can't remember his name. I can't remember nothing. Anyway, that is one thing that's coming. I got that kit, the Hypercube Evo 500 cubed kit that will be coming to the channel as soon as I get back on the air.
Yeah, so Zesty, a nimble on a Delta is good in theory. It really is. I'm really, and I keep telling everybody says, put a nimble on it, Core XY machines and, anything that's Bowden to try to do flexible with it, try the nimble. And I'm really interested to see what version 2 brings of the nimble, because I have a version 1. And my experience, this is just me, you understand, but my experience is it's too finicky to get it to work all the time.
Right.
I think after you really got into it, I probably worked on mine a week, but after you got into it, you got all the settings just nailed down solid, it would probably be amazing. But I really think it's a tuning nightmare. I'm hoping that version 2 eliminates a lot of that. So I am anxious to see what that one's going to look like.
Yeah, and I think they had one running not Murph last year, but the year before when they came.
Yeah.
I think they had a Delta over there running with one on it. And it definitely would help. It absolutely would help, because then you have direct drive on the head, and it's much better.
Yeah.
But anyway, Stephen the Lightspeed told me something I had no idea, that Davy Crocker, which is cousin of Davy Crockett, originally built his stuff for Deltas. I did not know they had printers back then. They should sing a song about him. Davy Crocker, king
great,
of
guy.
the Wild Delta.
Thanks a lot. Now you got Walter singing.
We could sing some country music and make Chris go to sleep.
Yeah, Freddie, and that's the question. I'm not sure. They said December, but I don't know if they're actually selling version 2 yet or not.
Yeah, I don't know either. I hadn't been out there.
Yeah, Tom, that's what it is. So it's backlash basically. You're fighting that cable. You have so much. You're gonna have a lot of torque from that gearbox anyway, but you have to deal with the backlash on the cable basically. So it's tricky.
And we talked about that. What type of cable was it? Was it like a speedometer cable, or was it, I actually looked at like the transmission gear cables that are your speedo cables, and they're wound in one direction for the most part.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest issues. You got to get one that's cross wound that won't back out and do this when you're going back and forth.
Right.
So, they make them. They're just more expensive than I want to spend on one.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
And he said David Crockett, not Davy. Well, it was Crocker, not Crockett either, but we can make fun all we want to. Oh yeah. Freddie Olseth said they did not say which December.
That is true.
3D Jimmy wanted to continue the song with "Built Him a Printer" when he was only 3.
Right. There are a couple of different remote. What do we want to call them? Remote direct drive, remote extruders. I guess that's what you would want to call them.
I
There's
don't
a
know.
couple of different versions of that. And of course, I can't remember the name of it, but there's now I'm gonna have to go look that up and figure out which one it is. But there's a lot of interesting some different tweaks and decisions based around that cable drive type extruder. So I would like to try like 3 out, put them up against each other just to see if one is easier than the other. But the Nimble, I think, has had the most success.
Hey, Steven said he's hungover. I just wanted to get louder. But hey, you know what we should do, Chris? We should make one that's like a 4-wheel drive setup, right? You got the the extruder motor over here, and you got a shaft that runs this way with a pinion gear and a U joint with a drive shaft, so that the U joint can do all this stuff here. And man, you know what I mean? Call it the mud bogging printer or something. I don't know.
Well, one of my favorite ideas, and I don't know that I've ever actually seen it in practice, but there's Robot Hut. You see him in the chat sometimes. He has a YouTube channel, but we were talking back and forth a little bit about having just something like that. Actually, it would just be a shaft with splines. So you would set the extruder over here on the X carriage somewhere on the side, and then you'd have a shaft that the X carriage could ride on, but it also had splines so that would turn the extruder, so that would turn the feeder so that you could just let it ride and it would be fixed that way. Plus it would have the accuracy of riding on that shaft.
Right,
So
right.
that's kind of an interesting idea. I don't know that I've ever seen one, but it would be pretty cool.
Yeah. It would be kind of like a rack and pinion system with the drive going across. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
So that you have your yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to flip it the other way and on the feeder side, to get it to mash up to whichever way you wanted to feed it. But
Right.
yeah, it would just be a fixed shaft that it could ride on.
Okay. I mean, because I'm gonna tell you right now, when you're doing like rear ends and stuff, you got to set the backlash and all this other stuff if you change gearing and all that. Can you imagine trying to set the backlash and everything on a pinion gear for a 3D printer?
Yeah.
What's the clearance on that? 0.0005.
Speaking of clearance and stuff, I was trying to measure wall thickness on a part. I was just, again, doing experimenting and looking about how different settings change certain things. So I got my micrometer out to measure it, and I haven't used it. I used to use it for like valve lash, or it's an old imperial standard measurement micrometer. I haven't used it in years.
Right.
But I got it out of the toolbox and brought it down here, and I put it on there, and I was looking at it, and I probably looked at it for 2-3 solid minutes before I realized that I wasn't dealing in metric. So I was converting, hundredths of inches to metric via Google, and I'm like, no. So I just I bought one on Amazon for $9. That was metric. That was kind of a funny experience. But.
Right. Ronnie Julian come in and said we need a Detroit locker extruder.
There you go.
I can deal with that. Robbie Mack comes in and says, "What up? Did Glenn break his computer again, Cups?" No, he broke his feeling good.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got? Pull side and coast side. Yeah. Bryce Schwartzword said, "Why didn't anyone add a second solid belt to the X gantry and compensate for the X moves to drive an extruder?" I guess you could, but you'd have to have one hell of an idler system on it.
Yeah.
Right? To keep that tension as it goes up and down.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea, though.
Yeah. The thing is, you might be able to do it. Well, the side to side stuff would be the pain in the butt, because the top and bottom, you could just put a gear at the top and the bottom, and that way it's always tight that way. But the going across would be fun. You'd have to have some kind of back and forth that took out slack as you move back and forth. That would be cool looking to watch work.
It would be. Well, it's like that. I don't know if you saw the one. I think I've mentioned it before, but he was using Duet 3 because he had counterweights. So so he had this massive printer, but he actually had movable counterweights underneath it to circumvent some of the motion.
Yeah.
And he was controlling them all with this Duet 3. Yeah, I mean, it was just crazy stuff.
Oh, you talking about that big that had like 16 pounds of counterweight on
Yeah.
the one level? Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I was hoping they would bring that to Earth, man.
that would be awesome.
Dude, I was like, yeah, but couldn't you just see flying all that across the ocean? Or
Well,
even put it on a boat. I mean, you'd had to put it on a boat 2 months before.
yeah, and I don't remember who did the interview with that guy, but you could just tell that that guy spent every waking moment fine tuning stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's just what he did, you know?
Yeah. Flux capacitor driving a Core XY with magnetic bearings. There you go.
Yeah, metric. I use metric more and more, and I do have 3D printers to blame for that.
Jason Smith asked, "What's a recommended bed for an Ender Pro 5 Pro?" I wanted to catch that before it scrolled out of my view here.
Recommended bed.
Yeah, I mean, what are you talking like glass? Are you talking about the print surface? Because it comes with an aluminum bed, don't it?
Yeah,
I would assume.
yeah, they're just the standard 3mm aluminum bed.
I mean, wham bam. There you go. Put a wham bam.
Well, and if he's talking like actually replacing the bed, you have a lot of options with the Ender 5 because it doesn't move. It only moves up and down. So
Yeah. But still, though, I mean, what your options are: aluminum, glass. You're not going to find a circuit board, I wouldn't think, maybe that fit it. I don't know what the size of it is.
might be able to find a sheet of Garolite, something like that.
Maybe.
Have you seen this one Surface? I want to say it's called Lock. They spell it like LOK, Lock something. Have you seen that? It's like it's a sheet, you know, just like everybody else's sheet. But that's one that I've never had any experience with. I just noticed that it was available the other day. Have you seen one of those?
Yeah. I hadn't seen it.
They're pretty inexpensive. I think a sheet is around $13, and I mean, compared to PEI or BuildTak, that's probably about the same price.
So I mean, it's just a stick-on sheet like all the others.
Yeah. I mean, it's just your standard sheet, but that was one I'd never tried, and I thought about grabbing one just to give it a shot.
But 3D printing and painting says Lexan.
Yeah,
I guess you could use Lexan.
I've printed on acrylic before with glue stick.
My biggest issue with that is if you ever crash into it, you're putting holes in your acrylic.
That is true.
You know, that's my only issue with that. I mean, it'll work if I have nothing else. Lexan would definitely be a good choice for a bed. Wood bed for the real traditional look. You go, Sean. You go, buddy. You just stay over there in your own little world. I actually like the two Wham Bam systems I've got on the TiVo and on my Hypercube up here. They both are pretty good. So I haven't hooked this one back up and printed on it yet, but I mean it fits good. They're pre-cut, so
yeah. Do you run the PEX sheets?
And I'm not a great fan of the PEX sheets.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But the TiVo, I believe, comes with PEX originally on it anyway. Okay. One of the printers I built had a PEX sheet originally. I can't remember what it was. So, but I don't have a problem with it. You just have to scuff it up quite a bit because it is slick.
Yeah. I noticed that they were offering, you could get a couple different types of sheets now. You could be
are they
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he sent me these as a favor to the channel. He didn't ask for any sponsorship or anything like that. So I've printed on them. They stick. They're good. That's why I promote them. You know.
Cool.
Plus they're a Florida U.S. company. I'm good.
Oh, that's right. He is down in Florida.
Yeah. Is there a what was it? God dang, is there a redwood filament? Redwood. Yeah, it's called a board, and you need a saw to use it. Delrin. Really?
Delrin.
Isn't that kind of slick? Would you really want to print on Delrin?
I don't think so.
Where can you buy some eccentric nuts for Signwider X1? I've never really met any that were full of themselves and stuff. Like,
I don't know where you'd get some of those. I've never actually looked for them. Maybe Masumi has them or something.
Yeah, Hack Monkey, you're right. But their support is kind of like Prusa's support. It's second to none. And if they're offering more than their PEC sheets now for that, then then you may be able to get your PEI or whatever you need to go on it. That's true, Greg. That is true. I will tell you that acetone works wonders on that glue. Just pour it, soak it, and mine almost wiped off. So can't complain too much about that.
FEP?
Really?
Vinyl board? We're getting all kinds of good ideas going here.
Easy, and Jake from State Farm, easy mat for the win.
Easy mat.
I have no idea what that is. Flex with textured PEI is pretty cool so far. It is 3D printing and painting. I enjoy my Prusa beds, especially for PETG if you're going to print with the Mark III. That's the only thing Chris. That's the only thing Chris prints on it. But I like it even for PLA. I mean, it takes a little bit of adjustments to get PLA to stick, but once it does, and it works pretty well.
Yeah, Prusa puts out firmware, and they, I'm sure they've worked really hard on a lot of these features that they add and on. But I update their firmware, and they give me the choice of setting multiple bed surfaces for first layer height. And you can go in and save your smooth sheet 1, smooth sheet 2, your textured sheet. You can go do all that. But no, I don't do that. I just fight it every time I flip it out.
Yeah, no. So you need to set your settings, get it working. That way you can go textured and smooth, textured and smooth.
Now that would save way too much time. I have to come over here and fight it every time I want to switch the sheet out. So,
and you mentioned this FEP sheet that Greg's Maker Corner. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think FEP will handle heat very well. I mean, it's okay for the resin to the light to go through and hold the resin, but what's going to happen as soon as you drop 179, 180 degrees Celsius filament on it?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I've got a FEP sheet in there with a hole in it. I should try it and see.
You might have found the next big thing.
Kind of hold it underneath the nozzle and see if it melts it or something.
Easy mat is TH3D stuff. Gotcha.
Acetone and Gecko Tech's a bad combination. Just saying. Tested and confirmed. Well, I'm not talking about cleaning the surface of your system with it. I'm talking about if you have to remove a sheet and clean the glue. The glue. Use the acetone on the glue, not the sheet itself. I have no idea what any of these sheets would do under acetone.
Yeah, PEI it's fine with acetone. If you got a PEI sheet that's in real bad, like if you've wore it smooth, the acetone will actually rough it up just a bit. So that's okay. But no, you don't want to put it on Gecko Tech because the Gecko Tech will eventually just disappear.
Right. I figured.
Yeah.
What else we got? I have to wonder how well spray vinyl wrap would work. Spray vinyl wrap.
Huh.
Or is that an acronym for something? Because it's not vinyl either, but I'm pretty sure that's what he was trying to spell.
This is kind of an interesting subject because now I'm thinking about different things. But somebody mentioned Lexan, which is polycarbonate. But polycarbonate really likes to stick to polycarbonate. Right. So it would be cool if I have printed some PC a handful of times, and I have done it recently, and it with varying degrees of success. But it would be really cool if you could get really thin pieces of Lexan and print on them, and then you'd pretty much probably just have to throw the whole thing away.
Well, no, but here's the thing though. If you were printing like a city diorama or something on there, that could be your base. Put your Lexan down, print it to it. There you go. You don't even have to glue it to it anymore.
That's true. That's true.
You know,
You could
painting it would be fun.
Yeah, well, and if you were printing with something that was somewhat clear, you could like put a light under it and it look really neat.
Wouldn't it though?
And I'm sure that is the best use of polycarbonate ever. But
if you could find some clear polycarbonate and print with it, and then like do some like some semi-transparent paints on it,
Yeah.
and then shine the light through the bottom, that would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I've got some transparent blue PC. I might have to try that.
PT3D said he was kidding about the FET, but he would love to see that. That may be something I try on a live stream. Let's try out FET under filament and see what it works.
Can you print on FET? Vinyl wrap doesn't work right in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Paper application tape works okay, but wears down quickly. TK's 3D print said he was sorry he was late, but you know what? We're always late.
You're always on time in the Kuntry Basement. Yep, polycarbonate packing tape. That is the go-to if you want to print PC. That's most of the time that's what you end up with.
Really, because I mean it sticks to itself, right? So if you use polycarbonate packing tape, then that packing tape is stuck to itself, but it doesn't stick to the bed, right?
Yeah, that's the plan anyway.
Huh. Well, that ain't too bad.
Yeah, it works. But PC is not the easiest thing in the world to deal with.
Well, I don't know if anybody out there is noticing. I'm gonna bring this up, and Chris probably hadn't noticed either. But I haven't hit my vape one time since I've been on stream today.
Nice.
I'm trying to go through these longer and longer spells because I only got half a bottle of juice, and when I run out, I'm out. I ain't buying no more. So,
I used to work with a guy. He was probably like in his late 60s, early 70s at that time. This has been like 15 years ago. But I would go help him with odd jobs, and he had like 5 acres, and so I would help him with his fence or whatever. But he was trying to quit smoking, so he would leave. He would just make them further and further away from himself. So
yeah.
So eventually it got to where he'd put them on the dash of his truck. And so he had to walk outside and go to the truck to get a cigarette. Well, he just kept parking the truck further, further out. So he had to walk further and further to get some. And that's how he ended up quitting, because he got tired of walking out and getting
tired of walking. Hey, you know what? He was improving cardiovascular health at the same time he was quitting smoking. That's a good idea.
I thought it was a pretty good idea myself. So I always liked that story, though.
Robert Riggins come in with Kapton tape. Yeah, I guess so. What is that? That's Delrin tape, right? Isn't that what that's made of? Something like that, or is it something different than that? What is that?
I'm not. Kapton tape is that high.
Like a
yeah, high heat. I'm not exactly sure what it's made out of, though.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, probably Captain, whatever Captain is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what family that is in.
I'm not a chemist.
I saw one. Speaking of Kapton tape, I saw one of the things. I don't know why I thought it was so ingenious, because it's actually pretty stupid. But somebody had their Ender 3 and they put 2 pieces of Kapton tape over the screen, and it was like, now they have like a bright green screen. It looks like it's the color of Mountain Dew.
That's just nasty.
I don't know why I thought that was good. I mean, I was like, that, I like that. I like that hack. That's pretty cool.
Well, I have 2 rolls at the house. I've got one that's like 2 inches wide, and then the one that's like 3/4 of an inch wide or whatever. We use it for when we do like heat pressing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do hat presses or whatever. But I thought about it one time, and I'm like, I could put this on the bed and wonder what it would do, but I never did.
Yeah.
Polymide film, Brian Weber says.
Polymide. There you go.
Okay. Glass trans temp of 217C. So yeah, it wouldn't be real great.
There goes Gusner actually looking up facts and stuff.
And he says FEP has a melting point of 260C.
Max working temps 204.
That's gotta be at a certain temperature. I mean, I can't see that little bitty film that I'm putting on that printer holding very much heat at all. But I guess it could.
Yeah. No, yeah, Captain works pretty well as a print surface. It just, it's tape. You're constantly messing with it.
Right. Well, it's just like painter's tape, though, man.
Yeah, same thing. And I like printing on painter's tape. I really do. It works good. I like it because there's such a what's the word I'm thinking of? It's gone. But you can see the first layers really well. There's contrast. There's such a really high contrast in between that and the tape. But it's just, I hate messing with the tape.
Well, that I can't stand it. If you get it to stick so good, then you got tape all over your model.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be not printing, standing up or whatever, if you're printing on something that's going to sit on the table and you're printing on the bottom, that's fine. But if you're printing on something and you're leaning it back or whatever on a piece that's going to be up and can be seen, that's not worth the crap.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got on this subject. Makes you think about things.
Yeah. But TK brings up build tack. I have nothing against build tack. It's a little expensive. But it sticks too good. I have a couple of sheets of build tack, and if I have a 3D printer that's a complete disaster, like the bed's not level or it's just not going well, I'll slap the build tack on it because I know 100% that it will stick. But probably 3 times in, I'll gouge a giant hole in it because it sticks too good.
Right. Well, James, I'll tell you like this, buddy. The fun has arrived. And his name is James. Mr. Print and Plays in the house. Oh, that ain't what I want to do. Let's see here. Blue tape comes off with a wet towel. Well, most of the time. There have been a few times where I've actually had to get sandpaper and start taking plastic with it. We do, James. We do have a sick Glenn. Have you ever had that problem, though, Chris, where you print something on blue tape and it just sticks so bad it's just pain?
It's permanent. Yeah. Uses water-based glue. Yeah, I mean that would be the best way to deal with it.
Yeah.
I do that on PEI sometimes, but it just depends on what you're printing. Yeah, that was one of the things that was pretty surprising to me. I spent like 2 weeks testing flexible filament. Just what does this one do? How what's the hardness level of this one, and is it easy to print? What does it stick to? What is it like? And I have been printing flexible for years, but all of the flex that I ever really ran into before this set of experiments, I would print it on PEI, but I would print it with some glue stick down because most of the stuff that I ever dealt with would fuse instantly to PEI, and there goes your sheet.
Right.
But in this testing, I actually ran into some that would not stick to PEI. I was just counting on the textured sheet, the powder coated sheet, to do all the testing on it. I had some that wouldn't go, and that was somewhat surprising. So there's TPEs and TPUs and a whole bunch of different acronyms for different types of flex. Right. But there's also one TPA, and I'm not sure what the A is. I'd have to look that up again. But that's the one I always have problems with not sticking to certain things. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, because everybody told me not to print flexibles on PEI.
Yeah.
Because it would ruin the sheet. So I did it on the texture sheet. And it printed and stuck very well. It was TPU. Matter of fact, I've still got 3/4 of a roll of it, which is good. But yeah, I was wondering.
Yeah, I had some Treed. That's the brand. I'm not sure where they're from, but I just had a sample of it, and it was a 74A, so it was really flexible. but I put it on the powder coated sheet, and it pretty much just fused to it.
Really?
It was, yeah, it was like pulling off a rubber glove. I mean, it snapped and everything. I mean, it was crazy stuck.
Well, I was thinking about changing the FEP on my resin printer while I was sitting here. I need to get me one of those big resin printers. There's a guy here locally who makes custom fishing worms, rubber fishing worms,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants some pour molds. So I need a bigger printer, so I can print like a 5 pour mold or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that a resin printer would do that very well, because he actually has to order them from another company, and what they do is they take his CAD design, then they mill a aluminum like model out of his CAD design, then they pour a mold around that, and then mold the resin around all of this other stuff. So it's like $1,000 to get one of these done.
Yeah.
And I think as long as your printer's good and you're ready to go with it, I mean, you're talking, it may have to print for 24 hours, but you're talking a bottle of resin,
Right. Yeah.
And I told him I might try it out.
That'd be kind of cool.
It would be, because then he could get his own and he could do his CAD, because he does all his modeling himself,
Yeah.
Now here's the thing though. If you get flexible enough, could you print one of those that would handle or stand up fishing with it?
Like FDM printing flex?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That you could put a hook in.
Wrong.
But here's my thing though. You can buy a bag of worms, for
right.
$5.
Yeah.
For some good ones, right? But you're going to put a hook in it, throw it out there. The fish is going to hit it, right? You catch your fish, and that's all well and good. You break your worm out of the bag, you throw it away. But if you break one that took, 18 hours to print,
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder.
Gustin's talking about Wi-Fi backpack. I actually talked to Roy the other day. Roy is over at Panicut. They make boards and all kinds of different stuff, but they also make this Wi-Fi backpack, and they run this ESP3D software that Gustin's talking about there. I guess from what he says, they've been developing it quite a bit. They've been going through a lot of different changes on that software. That's some pretty neat stuff. It's duet like. You can in the right scenario, you can kind of get a duet-ish experience out of it if you put it all together. So it's pretty cool stuff.
So back to my Hypercube Evo, I could put that on my Hypercube Evo then.
Right. Yep.
On the SKR board.
Yep. And then you'd have Wi-Fi Direct, and you could run that software, and you'd have a web interface.
Well, yeah, there we go. Yeah. That sounds like a plan. See, I told you we need to talk through this whenever I get that.
Yeah,
start working on that kit.
We'll get it set up.
Something else will come out new by then.
Yeah, well, somebody in the chat might know, but they have an SKR 1.4 board that's coming out. I have not received one yet. But I wanted to say one of those had built-in Wi-Fi. That one of them had a built-in module.
Whoa.
So I don't know if that's true or not, or if I dreamed that, but
well, I mean, having Wi-Fi is one thing where you can transfer files to and from the SD card, but having a web interface is a whole different story.
Exactly.
So if they start coming out with those, then he's gonna have to get on putting web interface with Marlin 2.
Yeah.
Get on Scott. Say, hey Scott, we need a web interface, man.
Yeah, well, in your free time, could you whip out a web interface?
Yeah, just throw one together real quick, man. I'll tell you what, you create the API like they have for the Duet, and I'll create the web interface. It's not a big deal.
There you go.
Just write the web API or write the API for it.
Okay, so Scott says it has a header for Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So basically, at that point, you could just use any ESP module and flash that ESP3D software on there, and you'd be good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have to do it.
We will. What is that? That's SKR 14. Is that what that's coming on?
Yep.
All right. And the thing is, as soon as it goes to 14, it'll be an $80 board. You know what? I need a cup of coffee, Chris.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah. So Sean Gould's talking about the SKR. They have a duet-ish. I don't know. You know, because you had some sort of Feistek duet-like board, right? A clone board of some kind, right?
I still do. It's on the TiVo.
Okay.
The Feistek, the Feistek Duet clone, yes.
Yeah. Does that one allow you to chain off onto a breakout like DuX? Do they have that big header on it?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Okay. Well,
it's a Duet too. I mean, it's the Wi-Fi version 2.
Yeah. Big Tree Tech has done something like that. They've got a duet-like board with it, but I don't know that because I think that board you have is actually they're attributing that as a duet. Like it's just
it says on there designed by whatever the
right. I don't know if Big Tree Tech has done that. I think they've just kind of cobbled their own thing together. But it now can have a breakout into 12 motors or whatever it might be, like Duet did. I don't know really how I feel about that whole thing, because Big Tree Tech did reach out to me and say, "Hey, would you like to test this board before we release it?" And I was looking around at it a little bit and just kind of how they put it all together, and it's real familiar to a Duet. And I'm not really, I mean, Duet's open source. You know, we've talked about this a million times. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that board.
I'm such an idiot. Shush, I don't want to hear it. I'm such an idiot. I thought I had a whole thing of coffee over there, right? So I could go make me a cup of coffee. But I get to looking and all of them's been punched. The Keurig punch. I forgot I dumped the new ones into my holder and then put the old ones in the old coffee box that they come in. So I thought I had a whole box of coffee over there and I ain't got near freaking pod. Dang, I guess I go back to this last little bit of water I got. Anyone use 3D? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I have never used it. Have you?
No, not their PTG. No.
Yeah.
I have used 1,000 rolls of their PLA. Now I have not bought except 2 rolls since they changed hands. Since they stopped putting Made in the USA on the boxes, I have not bought much 3D Solutech at all. But I've got a bunch of filament I need to get through anyway.
Yeah, me and you both.
Now let me ask you this: we were talking about putting the ESP 8266 on a board. But I've had issues with ESP 8266. It's just they work for a month or they work for 3 months and then they're done.
Yep.
And so I thought it might have been that I was buying cheap ones, but no, they just don't last a long time.
Yeah. It really, I found because a lot of the boards, even Duet, the module that they're syncing on the board is usually still just an ESP 8266 something.
Right.
The biggest thing I've found about those modules is power. If they're not getting consistently the same thing over and over, they don't last very long. I mean, and we're talking about like microscopic amounts. The way that I use them, you know, I throw them on a breadboard and, you know, hook up stuff and hope for the best, you know. So I might not be getting the exact amounts of juice that they might need, but if they stay consistent, if they're parked in one spot, they have a good configuration, on a board with a regulator, and it's done the exact same way every time. They seem to last a long time. But yeah, just throwing them around, using them on different projects, yeah, they tend to crap out on you.
I want to show this to Ronnie Julian. Yes, they do have the USA flag on them, but used to they said "Made in the USA" above it. They took off the "Made in the USA" and left the American flag. So no, it's not old ones. That's the new ones. But I don't know anything about them, so yeah. See, Jason Smith said he's got two ESP 8266 has been running for years on temperature sensors.
Yep.
And yeah, I just couldn't get any of them to stay the way they wanted to.
Yeah, I've had mixed results with mine. Talking about filament though, I have been running so Printed Solid, they had the Jesse brand filament. Well, they rebooted that, and they are extruding that in-house now. I have been testing with that for about 2 weeks or so, and it is flawless. That stuff, especially, it's pretty well priced for one thing, but the measurements on it, super consistent. So whatever magic that Dave did to that line to get it down so consistent, it works really well. And
now, go ahead.
No, well, the reason I know it works well is because I've been running MMU2 prints with it, and I haven't had one intervention for we're talking like over 100 hours. So it's looking like it's going to be pretty good. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Well, my question is though, they got that new line that they brought to Earth. Is that the one they're using to make it, or did they redo one of the other two lines they had?
No, that's Protopasta.
Oh, well, it was Protopasta, wasn't it? Okay, yeah. So did they get a new line, or they just revamped their old line?
No, Dave bought a brand new line for Printed Solid.
Okay,
they've got a brand new. They've just got one as far as I know right now.
I was thinking of IC3D.
Yeah, well, that's who made the original Jesse filament.
Right, we didn't go to Protopasta before, so
yeah, Protopasta was the one that had it at Earth.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, yeah, Dave's making it in house there, so it's looking good.
Well, and the cool thing is, man, I'm glad to see Dave and him expanding. I really am. I'm glad to see they're growing their business. You know, it's a tough business to break into. China filament. I mean, most China filament nowadays is not bad. You know, I mean, you get some that's crappy, but for the most part, they're made by one or two companies in China, and one company's fantastic, and the other company's crappy. You know, and if you find one that's good, it's just going to be good. You know.
Yep.
Now I don't what's the wind like? Is it Prusa wind, or is it, you know, just normal winding?
It's not Prusa, you know, PM brand, finely laid out like you would see on their spool, but it's good enough.
Okay, all right, well,
it's not bad.
Because you know, a lot of people with what was that Area 1 filament or whatever, everybody was getting bad rolls and they weren't spooled right or whatever. Yeah. I've been through 4 rolls of that stuff and I ain't had a problem one with it. It's worked fantastic.
Yeah, I never got a hold of one of those.
Oh, he bought a Polyalchemy line, or he bought one like their line? Because did Polyalchemy go out of business?
I don't know.
Oh, they bought the line from Polyalchemy.
Nice.
I hope they didn't, man. I like their shiny stuff.
Yeah. So Tom's got Jesse too. So cool. He says the wine looks good. I only have 5-pound spools of Jesse, so I don't know what the kilogram spools look like. The 5 pounds are a little harder to tell. But.
Right. Well, it's like the 20 what is it, 20 kg, 10 kg rolls that I got here. Yeah, it's just on the roll.
Yeah.
Polyalchemy is going out of business, he heard.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
I did not know that. Well, there you go. Learn something new every day.
I guess so. Instead of watching cat videos, I need to watch 3D printing videos.
Uh, uh, Somebody asked about the tool changer. I haven't messed with the tool changer much. There's still a lot of work to be done. So last week, everything turns into, a story or, a long-winded effort that totally shouldn't, but that's how things go. So last week I thought it would be a great idea that after I got home from work and ate dinner and all that, I was going to run to Lowe's and try to find a shelf so I could add a few more, so I could put the tool changer on it, get some stuff off the floor, whatever. Well, the shelves that I've been buying, like these, they're pretty nice and they're not super expensive. Well, they don't sell those anymore. I'm like, okay, fine. So I buy the one that was comparable to that, but it was quite a bit cheaper. So got it home. It is the crappiest shelf you've ever seen in your life. But it's, it was made out of particle board, so it still weighed 100 pounds. So I get it out of the box, I look at it, and I try to fit some of it together, and no, there is no way. No way I'm going to put anything on this shelf.
I am not putting printers on that.
Yeah, so that was my intention, but where I was going to put the shelf over there, I have pulled everything out, and now it's laying everywhere until I find another shelf. So it's just, everything turns into a mess.
Oh, Carl said that Polyalchemy was having their filament made by someone else, bought the line, ran one production of all the colors, then sold the line today. And right now they're not getting any PLA due to China shortage, but okay.
Where's your filament, people?
Well, I've got enough purple to last me quite a few prints, so I'm okay.
Okay, good.
I'm okay.
How do you screw up a shelf? Well, they can do it, I found. I didn't think it was possible, but boy, they did.
I've screwed up several myself.
Well, and I said, when I took this shelf back and I handed it to the guy and I said, this thing is bad. I said, what happened to the other ones? And he's like, oh, we still have those. I'm like, no, you don't. And and I said, I could just go down and buy some boards and make my own shelf, but it'd be like twice as much as this shelf,
Right,
if you could sell me one. But but if I didn't have anything to complain about, what would I do?
Well, you got those shelves on the left. Those look home built.
These over here?
No, on your right, my left.
Oh yeah. So, I built those a long time ago.
Yeah, and they're still standing up. So
they are.
You did a decent job.
They have a lot of crap on them.
Well, you should probably wipe that up and get rid of the rats. But other than that,
it adds character. I don't know.
Let me tell you, I looked up a recipe last night for chicken cordon bleu, and it's pretty simple to make chicken cordon bleu, right? Mm-hmm. My wife and I had it, I don't know, 15 years ago, and she's begged me to make it ever since then. Well, last night I looked up the recipe, got all the stuff, and I made it. Well, the problem is that you have to roll it in flour, eggs, and then panko breadcrumbs, and I can't right now. I'm not supposed to eat any of the carb stuff. So I did eat one last night, and I didn't lose not even a half a pound yesterday. It made me really mad. But then today for lunch, I'm like, you know what? I really want that again, but I can't do it that way. So I took it and I made the chicken cordon bleu like you're supposed to, with the Swiss cheese and ham and all rolled up, and stuff with the Dijon mustard. Actually, I use spicy brown mustard. It gives it more flavor.
Mm-hmm.
But I rolled it all up, and then I took it and I wrapped it in ham instead of rolling it in like breadcrumbs, and then I put it in my air fryer. Oh my God. That was good.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it, buddy. How I do it's in the house. Oh wow. Oh, Printed Solid's got a new line of silk filaments that look comparable, and they look to match several of Poly's colors.
Yeah, Extrudor, that biofusion.
Yeah,
it's real close to what polyalchemy was doing. It's real good filament. That filament is somewhat interesting because I tested some of their PLA and it sticks on a bed surface like I've never seen PLA stick.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do to that filament, what's different about it, what's it got in it that makes it different from other PLA. That stuff sticks like crazy. It's hard to get off. So
Yeah.
somebody else confirmed that for me, but that was my experience. Oh, now we got the food talk rolling.
I know. I'm sorry. My bad. I just had to tell you about that because it was really good. And I've thought about bacon, and I thought about. I didn't think about prosciutto, but anyway, Monicure does silk filaments too. So does Hello 3D and several other companies. Hello 3D prints for a lot of different companies, so their filaments are made in house for other people. But yeah, they're a pretty big company, and I haven't really had any problems with any of their silks. Now, their regular PLA is a different story.
Yeah. Supposedly it's part PETG. Well, that would explain the results that I got then.
But wouldn't that make it have to? You'd have to print it a little hotter, right?
Yeah, I don't remember what the recommended temp on that was. But yeah, I mean, if it depends what the mix was of it, but that would definitely explain why it sticks so good to PEI though.
Matt, that's what they're saying, buddy. I said they're out of materials right now, so they're waiting. I don't know. I mean, if they get somebody in China to print it, I'm pretty sure they'll be selling filament again here soon.
Yeah.
You should, Llama. You should. You should get it from Alien 3D and print the heck out of it.
Yeah.
What constitutes a silk filament? It's shiny.
Well, yeah, it's shiny.
I don't. I've got one. Now I don't know how my camera's going to catch it or whatever, but let me see if I can pull this camera up, Chris, and put it up here, maybe a little better. I don't know. Tabletop. Where you at? 930 handheld. Boom, boom. You're gonna come on. There you are. Let's go down and see if we can get this. This is a silk filament that they said was orange. It was not orange. It was peach, but it's a pretty peach color, and it's very, very shiny. Can you see it, Chris?
Yeah, your video went a little bit grainy on me, but I can still see it.
God dog it. Yeah, it probably did because I throwed on that other camera. Let me see what I'm getting out here. Yeah, that and my internet dropped to 144 kilobits per second download. So as soon as my internet comes back up, I will turn this camera back on and I'll show it to you a little better. Yeah, let me turn that back off and see if that helps any. No, I don't know, man. I love the cellular because of the speed, but until I get a couple of good antennas pointed in the correct direction, this is what you get.
Yeah. Pearlescent surface. That's what I kind of when I see the silk filaments, I always think of like adding pearl to automotive paint. You know, that kind of color. It's not necessarily like that, but kind of.
Should be getting a little clearer now.
Yeah, you're pretty clear right now.
All right, let me turn this back on and I'll hold it back up again. There, can you see that better?
There you go. That looks good.
Yeah, it was supposed to be orange, but it's pink. But that's what a silk filament looks like. So, not too bad. All right, let me put my moon back.
Something that I got on Amazon that I've been having an excellent time with that's very inexpensive, and I didn't realize this until I went looking for it the other day, but you can get USB microscopes for like $20. And the resolution isn't, it's like 640, 480 or whatever, but it's a microscope. What do you want?
Right.
But I've been using it to look at prints and to look at the different layer heights and stuff. It's really fascinating to me, actually. It's definitely worth the $20. It's a lot of fun.
Let me tell you how much of the internet I ran out of the other day. I don't collect coins by any stretch of the imagination. I collected stamps when I was younger. I caught myself the other day watching this guy unroll boxes of pennies to try to find pennies that were worth money. And I'm not talking about rolls of pennies. I'm talking about hundreds of rolls of pennies. And he has one of those microscopes that he was showing these pennies under when he would find them. And I'm like, I really want one of those microscopes. So I'm like you, I started looking for a USB microscope, and they're not that expensive. But I got to them by watching a guy unwrap rolls and rolls of pennies.
Oh, that's too much, man. That's hilarious.
Well, when you're sitting there working and you have YouTube on all day long, every day.
Yeah.
There's just there's only so many 3D printing videos to begin with. I've already watched all of yours, all of several other YouTubers, every video they have. I mean, you only have so many hours of content.
Yeah.
So then you just have to find something else to watch, like a guy sitting there unrolling pennies and describing what every facet of the penny is about. Jason Smith said he subbed to that channel also.
It sounds fascinating.
No.
So I am driving and hauling all my own stuff to Murph, so I should be all set, and I can probably bring some stuff back this year. Let me grab a print because I just did a junction deviation test on a print, but now I want to look at it. I'll be right back.
I get. Oh, curmudgeon, that sounds friggin' awesome. No, Carl. No, I have not. I forgot about him, actually. I should go back and watch those. I could watch those instead of some dude unrolling pennies. Nah, I'll watch the dude unroll pennies.
Yeah, penny guy's better.
Yeah. I don't know about building a white knight, man.
Penny guy. That's hilarious. Let's see if I can actually do this here.
Are you gonna try to hook up?
Yeah, let's see what it does.
Hey, Chris, I'm gonna step out for a minute, buddy. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll bore them with my microscope. Okay, so there it is. So now the only problem with the microscope is they're really hard to focus. Now this is a test, semi-automated test for junction deviation and jerk values. So basically all I did was I started at 1 and I ran it all the way up to 10 at the very top. You can actually see these start on some Bowden machines, maybe printers that aren't necessarily the highest quality printers. You can actually see them start to lose filament because of that setting. That's instantaneous movement if you've never tried to tune it before. But if you take a look at these, and see if I can focus it in before I swing it over there. They're really, I mean, I'm really nerdy about 3D printing, you understand. You all should know that by now. But I find them fascinating. So hopefully you can see that. So that's the microscope. So down on the, I don't know what side of the screen it is, the left side for you. So that's the low value. And then you can just slide it over and start looking at some of the higher values. But you can really see the difference in the print. See where it starts to get just a little bit faster? And the value changed at every 30 layers. But then we go, if you get all the way up here to the top, so we're talking like the 9, 10 range. You see there, we're actually starting to miss layers just a little bit. And then there are some right there that actually did miss it. The extruder couldn't keep up at that speed. Now you can probably see my thumb. like that. I don't know. I find it fascinating. I think it's really cool. It's not. It's I'll put the link to which one I got. It's the cheapest one I could possibly find. But I don't know. I find it really interesting. I really like it. Let me get you a link to that. If I didn't have Amazon, I'd have money. Like I said, it's like the most inexpensive one I could find. Here it is. Where's chat at? There it is. Yeah, it's only like 640 by 480. The resolution's pretty low, but it's still a lot of fun. So that's the one I ended up getting. I'm sure that just for a little bit more, you could get, a little higher quality one that would do a little bit more. But this was so the old curmudgeon. This is you're talking the J value. This test was the XY classic jerk values. I haven't done the J value yet. I'm going to. So I'm going to take. So now that I have that one done, I'm going to take that one, and then I'm going to switch over to junction deviation and run the same kind of deal. So the one we just looked at was jerk 1 through 10. Sky Basic? I don't know. I find that stuff really fascinating. Yeah, if you didn't have, you'd have to go to the actual store. Yeah. Well, every time I go to the store now, I never find what I want anyway. So I usually come back home and order from Amazon anyway. So why leave the house? Resin prints would kind of be cool. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Lots of tests like that. So that for a lot of these tests, so I've been thinking a lot about slicer settings and what is a good mix of speed, quality, strength. Where are you at on certain types of printers? What should your settings be? So then that gets me thinking, well, I really can't see the print good enough to tell you what's better than another one. What some of those settings actually do. So that took me to microscope. And pretty much since then, I've just been looking at things close up because I think it's fun. But even if you set the extrusion multiplier, which was somewhat, I don't know, it was interesting to say the least. I don't want to say it was shocking, but even when you go in and set the extrusion multiplier and you look at it under the microscope, you can see, even if you change, I don't know, 0.02 of a percent, you can see the layers actually start to bulge or get a little bit thinner. It's really impressive. This just goes even further to show you how impressive the 3D printing machines that we use are and what they're capable of, especially when you only get them for $150. So, but the microscope really brought that to light. And Walter's back.
I am. Hopefully, internet's cooperating now. I didn't check. Not really. So I missed all of your microscope stuff. Do it again.
Yeah. Ronnie Jillian was saying microscopes are free garbage. I don't know about the software. I took the software and threw it over my shoulder and plugged it into OBS, and I've just been playing with it that way ever since. So, but here's my here, Walter. I'll let you see the microscope level. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It really is. But like I was telling them, this is a jerk value test. So like down here, that's like a jerk value of 1.
Right.
And then at the top, I took it all the way to 10. But before it gets to 10, you can actually see the extruder start to give out and not push out any more filament. If you get up here a little bit, right there, it starts to miss.
Huh.
But that's
pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's even kind of hard to see, just with the naked eye. But you throw it under here, and it's like, well, now that makes sense.
Well, the thing is, though, I mean, if you were doing this as a business and you were printing things for people,
Yeah.
And they're like, this did this or this did that. You could examine it under a microscope and see what it was doing. And if you've done tests like you're talking about, then you
Yeah.
might know, well, I need to bump the jerk down by 1 or something.
Right. Right. And that really brought a lot of things to light after I looked at it under the microscope. I was like, well, now I really fully understand, what's actually going on here. And that's the same way with a lot of tests, acceleration, feed rate. What is it actually doing when it rounds that corner? Linear advance.
Right.
So yeah, it's just it's a lot of fun. Proximity sensors, 10 to 30 volts. What could we do with proximity sensors?
Proximity sensors at 10 to 30 volts is the problem. It's not the proximity sensors, because I could use proximity sensors.
Yeah.
But running 10 to 30 volt, I guess, man, if you were going to do like a home vacuum system or something.
Yeah.
Where a little robot vacuum and it was running off of 24 volts or something like that.
That'd be kind of
I don't
cool.
know.
I've got so much of that stuff sitting around. I appreciate the offer, but they would set in a box and I'd never use them, I'm sure.
PT3D, send me that link, man. I want to check one of those out.
Yeah,
my wife. Go ahead.
No, you could tweeted the link to the scope you use. Okay, that's cool. You could hook it up to the Pi. I think the Pi would probably recognize it just fine. I could test that out and see. They're quite large, but you could do it, I think.
We went all hardwood floors in the house now.
Mm-hmm.
And since we no longer have a dog that might have an accident on the floor, we're really thinking about the RoboVac, getting a vacuum of some type to wipe it up.
Mm-hmm.
Sergio, I don't know what I would use them for either, but I would try to figure out something to use them for. Even if not at this moment. Anyway, but I've been looking at the 3D printed one. I'm wondering myself though, how it would stack up, you think, to like a Roomba or something.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that name because there's a whole bunch of knockoffs out there that are cheaper than Roombas, but yeah. I think that's the biggest name brand of them. I do not have one, nor have I ever had one. And I just think it would be a lot simpler than having to pick up a broom every now and again.
That would be pretty cool.
Michael Fox says, post the link so we can check it out. I guess you're talking about the robot vacuum on Thingiverse. I mean, all you got to do is search for robot vacuum or vacuum period on Thingiverse.
OBS does like cameras. I think he's talking about the PT3D link, maybe.
Oh, maybe so. I don't know. Sounds like BB-8 parts. Yeah, right.
Yeah, Tom, I'll definitely go. I will definitely be working that into some videos, but I'll see what I can do to make a video on that. It might be somewhat interesting.
On the microscope deal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you do it like you were talking about with your testing, and you show the jerk values and stuff like that, how they affect under the microscope, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that would be a good add-on. I've been trying to do a little bit of that. If people that watch the content, I've been trying to add in a few more things like that. So, recording the amount of decibels, and I actually got a FLIR camera, which was a little pricier than I wanted it to be, but it is kind of cool to look at things that way. So.
Now, you've been doing FLIR for a while, though. I mean, you've had FLIR for a while. What were you using before? Or did you have that? That's what you did. You bought that camera then.
That's the only one I've ever had. I've been doing it for like 6 or 8 months, probably.
Because I know there's what is it? One of the iPhones or something had something like that, or something. You could do a heat map or something with the iPhone camera or something. There was some software that would do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they did. I don't know.
I don't know how they would without an infrared camera.
Yeah.
Sweet. Everybody says the Roomba is pretty cool. They're just expensive, man.
Yeah.
Do you have one? Do you have a robot vacuum of any type?
No, I don't. I'm a lot more interested in the robot lawnmower.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you look at some of the prices? There's one that's commercial, right? Am I
Oh, yeah?
blowing you out on the microphone?
No, you're fine.
Okay. There's a commercial one out that you're supposed to use commercially, and I'm like, it's basically just a remote controlled lawnmower. So you stand in one spot and mow grass,
Which would also be cool.
which would be cool. But I mean, I just as soon ride the lawnmower.
Yeah. What print to use for junction deviation? There's one out there, and I cannot remember if I created the part or if I downloaded the part. Maybe you were the one that asked me about it, and I'm sorry if that was the case. But I was supposed to post that part. I was supposed to go look and see if I could find it, and now I can't find it again. But I'm actually gonna write something down for once. I'm gonna write that down because I think I've forgotten that like 3 times now. Because I've done a lot of testing on the difference in between junction deviation and jerk values. It's really hard to tell the difference. Okay, I'll do it this time, I promise.
Glenn said FLIR sells an IR camera attachment for an iPhone.
Yeah.
So they sell an IR lens. That's pretty cool. Well, no, that makes sense, Carl. That absolutely makes sense. Especially on those highways we went through. Up there in Baltimore and around that area between Washington and Baltimore. That makes sense. That way he can sit in the safety of his truck, mow the grass down the side of the median or whatever. And, they run over a robot, It doesn't kill a human.
Yeah.
Wow, a cube with 10-layer jerk code changes.
Yeah, that's what that one is. And I got that one off of Thingiverse or something, but this one's just got a couple of corners on it so that you can kind of see what it does when it goes around. I can post that model as well, but I created the code for it in Prusa Slicer to change the values. It's really simple. It's just a couple of if statements, but that's how I did it. I guess in Simplify 3D, I don't remember this. I haven't used it in years, but you can do like in the same model, you can use different settings. You can reslice or something like that at different layer heights, and use different like retraction. You could change retraction on the fly like that in the same print. I don't remember ever doing that, but I guess you can. I'm hoping that that's one of the next things that Prusa Slicer releases, is that you can do things like that. Because right now, all you can change is stuff that you can control with G-code.
One thing I haven't done, I guess it was before we left, I put the 1.2 millimeter nozzle on the TiVo.
Hmm.
I have yet to print anything with it. Well, one thing is I forgot to turn off that the nozzle can go below the bed.
Yeah.
So it pretty much crashes every time I try to do something.
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
So I've got to redo the calibration and remember to turn it back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool though. I mean, that's one of the big things. And it's not just Prusa Slicer. Slick 3R has been doing that forever. But they have a lot. I think they call them placeholders. I don't remember what they call their variable system or whatever. But you can pretty much any setting inside there has a parameter that you can use in some sort of statement. It makes it pretty handy to set up testing and things like that.
You know what I think? I think an add-on, if you could write add-ons to Prusa Slicer or whatever, so that you could do you want to do a temperature tower or whatever, You could just say, okay, I want to change temperatures by 10 degrees every 10 millimeters. There you go.
That's a good idea.
You know, just add it in there because I mean, everybody needs to do one when you get new filament that you don't know anything about.
Yep.
You know, and they're just such a pain to actually just sit there and go through and set up.
That would be a cool plugin.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Wonder if you could do that with Octoprint. Probably
I'm
so.
sure you could on Octoprint. Yeah.
Yeah. Then every 5 millimeters, 10 millimeters, whatever in height change, you drop the temperature by 5 or 10 degrees, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
That would be
So,
cool.
multiple processes. That's what I was trying to think of.
Oh yeah. Multiple processes.
Yep.
That's been around in like S3D and Slick 3R for a while though.
The Simplify 3D kind of takes it. I don't know, I don't know how they do things, but they kind of take it to another level, allowing you to do a whole lot of different settings. But they should for $150.
You are correct. What's up, Red Light?
What's up, Red Light?
Oh man,
absolutely.
I really needed that coffee.
I don't have an iPhone, unfortunately.
Never have, never will.
S3D is dead to me.
And the thing about it is though, I understand that. You know?
Yep.
I do. I understand that from folks. I can see why that would be an issue.
Variable infill. I haven't made it all the way through that video yet. I started watching it the other day and didn't make it. Hands down, Stefan is one of the most meticulous people ever. He has done some really fascinating videos about extrusion multiplier and extrusion width, and how they impact size and speed, and how far you can stretch it. Some of that is really good content.
Yeah, I understand how S3D does the heights and all that stuff, guys. That's not what I was saying. I was saying if there was a plugin that said drop temperature by 5 degrees every 10 millimeters, you don't have to have multiple processes. It just does it for you. Then you don't have to set each one of them up. I understand how to do them. It's just time consuming when you know.
It would be nice to have something that just kind of spit it all out for you and you don't have to worry about it.
Right. And then you could do it on any model you wanted to, not just the temp tower thing.
Yeah. Precision Slicer is getting amazing. I actually downloaded, what is it, 2.2? 2.2 is the current alpha one. I haven't played with it much yet.
What was that, Chris?
Precision Slicer 2.2 is the newest one.
Oh yeah.
The alpha one. I haven't played with it yet.
I haven't updated anything since we stopped before the new year.
Yeah.
I haven't turned on a printer in here. I mean, last Sunday was the first time I had been in here.
What was a very political answer? I don't know what Carl's talking about.
I don't know either.
That's how I do things. I smooth things over. Red Light said Kansas City's up 34. My wife will be happy. She's out with her friends watching it right now.
Kansas City is up by 34?
She said it was 34-17 was the score.
Oh, okay. So they're up by 24 or no, 17. They're a 7-point favorite though, right?
I have no clue.
Oh, come on, man.
I don't follow it at all.
And then tonight we got who? Green Bay is playing somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be a cheesehead for the evening.
Description of CNC Kitchen. Gotcha.
Oh, I'll be right back, Chris.
Slices multiplier cubes better than... Okay, cool. went from 97 to 87 in Simplify 3D, and the cue ball stayed at a 0.9. What? That don't sound good. 7 minutes left. Man, it's over already? What time is it? Was it 20 to 5? Wow.
Oh no, it's 20 to 6, man. Where are you at? Oh yeah, you're in Kansas.
The land of the Midwest.
Right. I'll tell you what, on my drive to Arizona, friggin' West Texas is forever.
That is the definition of West Texas. Forever.
Forever. I mean, because you come into El Paso and you go through El Paso's like 28 miles wide or something like that.
Uh-huh.
You get the other side of El Paso. The next town, you better have a full tank of gas because the next town's got to be 3,000 miles away.
Yeah.
It's the only place on my entire trip I lost cell service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Dallas once, and this has been years ago, but I never really thought about Texas. I knew Texas was a big state. I'm not an idiot, but I never really thought about how big it is.
Right.
And I was in Dallas with one of my coworkers, and we were working on something, and he said, "Well, we might have to go to Houston." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, how far is that?" He's like, 8 hours. I'm like, "What?
Right.
How is that even possible?"
Well, and the thing is, I looked whenever I got into Texas to see what my mileage was because I wanted to know how far it was across Texas, right? Well, we hit 900 miles this side of Houston, and I forgot to look the next morning. So I actually don't know exactly how far it is, but it's over 900 miles from coming in on West Texas to getting to Houston. So
wow,
it's a long dang way.
That's a long way.
A long way. Well, I will tell you, it didn't take me 15 hours to go across Texas because West Texas, the speed limit is like 85. So that means you can run about 95. Old truck was booking it. We did take the F-150 out there, and I had the cruise control set at like 94, riding out. So
nice. Time for sleep, Gusner. See you later.
Oh, Gusner going to bed?
Yeah.
Thanks, Walter and Christian. For some reason, I just couldn't see calling you that.
No, I used to work with a Polish guy. He was from Poland. Like just got here. Like, so he called me Christoph.
Oh yeah, Christoph.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're famous now. You're in the Frozen movie.
I wouldn't even know that.
You should watch that movie. That movie's a good movie, man. It's Disney, Chris.
I've heard about this thing called Disney.
You should bring your wife down. Make a week of it.
Yep.
I don't know if she could stand you for a week at Disney.
I doubt it.
I think the animatronics would keep you interested.
Yeah, some of that stuff is pretty interesting. I like that kind of stuff.
The new Star Wars ride, the Hondo they've got up there that's animatronic. It's real, ultra realistic animatronics. Yeah. It's awesome. It's so much better than Chuck E. Cheese.
What was it at Chuck E. Cheese? Didn't they all have the same ones? That it was like the bear jamboree or something.
Yeah,
yeah, something like that. That's been a long time ago.
Yeah, no, but the animatronics at Disney are really good. They do stuff with light, man. That's just out of this world.
Yeah,
yeah, some of the effects they do.
So how many days is it till Murph? It's like 70 something, right?
Yeah, don't remind me.
Yeah, it's gonna come up fast.
I'm still trying to figure out if I'm gonna make it or not.
Yeah. I need to get those guys I forgot. I need to send those guys an email about logos and such.
Oh, on Murph?
Yeah. Where's the fun guy?
Right here. I'm right here. Wait. I'm right here.
Uh,
Oh, good evening from the Netherlands. Well, good evening in the Netherlands. It's evening here too, just not quite as late.
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas? What? I don't know that one.
Me neither, bud. Me neither.
Murph is how many sleeps? A few.
Yeah, very few.
I will tell. I saw Matt was in here, and it made me think of it. I don't remember the date. It's like the 7th or something, whatever Friday that is. The Friday. I never get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3D printing hangout. Scott Latine is going to be on that Friday, the 7th or whatever it is, and I will be on that as well to ask him a whole bunch of questions. So
Sweet.
yeah, so get ready for a whole lot of nerdy Marlin goodness.
Good. Ask him more than you gave me for my interview, though.
I need to get that list back up. See,
watch the interview and write those questions down again.
So that should be
Yeah,
good.
because that's pretty much all I asked him was Chris Riley questions because I didn't have any. I'm like, look, man, I put Marlin on my stuff. I change a couple of settings and it works.
That's right.
I don't do all this other mess. Chris does.
That's right. Mr. Buttroom is in here. What is the status on the giant maker coin? Or are you going to make it? Do you need any assistance? Because now would be the time.
What kind of maker coins he making?
He's doing that one for Mike Whaley, the where everybody printed the parts. I just want to make sure he had all the parts he needed.
I must have missed his stream where he talked about it because I hadn't heard anything about it. I hadn't been on Twitter either.
Yeah. Yep, first weekend in April. It's going to be good times. I really haven't seen anybody talk about it much, like who's going to be there and whatnot.
I'm hoping it'll be a little bit warmer.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. Which last year wasn't as bad as the year before last. Year before last, dude, it was so cold.
18 was kind of miserable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see because they said that wherever we're going to be this time is 4 times larger. So I'm interested to see what building that is.
It's the what do you call it? The livestock pavilion where they hold all the cows.
That's exactly what I told my wife. It's like we might be standing next to, pigs, but it will be bigger.
I think they're going to have all the animals out. It's whether or not they have it cleaned or not. It's going to be the issue.
Clean your own area.
Well, we might have some extrusions we really don't want.
Extrusions everywhere.
Everywhere.
That's right. Carl was doing the
open. I don't know. Yeah, Carl, just think if you'd have been there a year before last, dude, when the high was like 23.
Yep. Building 6 on the map. I'll have to look at my map.
I ain't looking at no map. I'm going to show up and find out where everybody's at. Mr. Buttram has a new subscriber. Sweet.
Excellent. Yep. Well, hopefully Glenn's feeling better for next week. Hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Well, you're hosting next week, right?
Yep.
So that ain't too bad.
I got a printer I need to build. I don't know if I'm going to build that Sunday or not.
Drive down here. Let's build a Hypercube Evo.
Hypercube Evo. All right, then.
A big one.
A big one.
Just hop in your car and come down here. I'm pretty sure before Chris did that, he'd be like, man, pick me up in Tallahassee, dude.
I'll meet you there.
Yeah, it's 30 miles from here to the airport. 3DP Iceland said he won't make it to Murph this time. I get it, man. I get only doing one a year. And it's going to be harder for me this year because it's my daughter's senior year in school. So we're going to be doing a lot more with her senior year. Oh, and let me tell you what she did last night. She got me my Christmas present last night, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a $200 piece of paper from a policeman.
Oh. What'd she do?
She got caught going 58 in a 35.
Oh.
Luckily, he dropped it down to 44 in a 35, or it'd have been $1,000.
Oh my. Well,
Yeah,
Merry Christmas.
yeah. I'm kind of mad. That's her second speeding ticket. All of my daughters combined had a grand total of 0 speeding tickets until the last one, and she's got 2. The last one cost me $150 a month on my car insurance. I can't wait to see what this one cost me.
Ooh.
So,
Boy. Well,
yeah, because that's 2 in 2 years, or 2 in 1 year. Yeah.
But a live Squire build at Murph. Yeah, I wouldn't get anything else done. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you wouldn't get done with the Squire either.
No, I don't. I can't imagine I would.
I don't want to work on anything at Murph this year, man.
That's my plan, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're going to just have to stand there and answer questions. All I can tell you.
Yep.
Because I'm going to stand there and ask a bunch.
I'm just not going to stop asking questions the whole
I'm not going to stop asking the whole day. I'm going to be like, wait your turn.
you're just pushing people down behind you. Wait.
Wait. No, my turn.
Hilarious.
I'm going to get us kicked out of Murph.
Well, if anybody can do it, you can. I have faith in that.
I promise I could if I really, really wanted to. I could.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, get her a job. She's been actually applying for jobs. It's hard in small towns when you got, a high school that carries 1,200 kids in small town to fulfill everybody's dreams of having a job. So It's really difficult to get jobs around here for high school kids. Well, that's true, Carl, and that's why you don't do those types of things at Murph. Ask the guys that tried to build that rail core last year.
How far did they get on that anyway? I didn't even look.
I don't know. I don't know how far Eddie got. It was Moser, right? Yeah, Eddie Moser and Pooch, those guys over there trying to build it. I don't think they got the frame put together with all the rails and stuff on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. All right. Well, you know what time it is.
So that time already?
Dang near it.
Yeah, Mike brings up a good point. The more people you know, the more entertaining these shows are. But we'll see. I mean, it's kind of, those shows are always interesting anyway because you get to go see all the people you know. But there are so many new people coming into this whole thing, you know, all the time. I have been enjoying it the last couple of years going to these different things because I get to see the younger makers come to these things like Thomas and Bennett and see where they're at now. Like I think they were like 11 or something when we started. It's pretty cool.
Well, and I know I'm back to grainy video again. Sorry guys. I can't do anything about the cell service right now. But myself, I would rather look and see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Then, I mean, I understand there's innovations from companies and stuff like that, and it's cool to watch. And some of the projects people put together are really cool. But to see the young kids, the stuff they're coming up with, because a lot of it's new stuff. It's stuff we hadn't thought of, and that's just really cool to see. But anyway, I guess my video is not going to cooperate anymore.
Oh well, we tried.
Walter has many 3D printers. He should put in a directional for the cell. Yeah, I should. The problem is that it needs to get up really high in order to get over the trees that surround me, and that's difficult to do. It'll clean up in a minute. We'll be out of here about the time it cleans up.
Right about the time it's time to end. It'll be perfect.
Oh yeah, be crystal clear again. And
Yep.
it's amazing to me because really and truthfully, only when I'm streaming video do I have any upload problems. I ran speed tests like 15 times before the thing. I'm getting 7 and 8 megabits upload. And on here right now, it's showing me sending video at like 500 kilobits. And I don't know if it's because I'm going through StreamYard or what the deal is, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, me either, but it should be clearing up now.
Yep, looks pretty good.
Yeah. That's what I figured. About time it's time to go. So are you what now that is that a wireless microscope camera, or do you have to plug that one in?
It's just USB. Yeah, you gotta plug it in.
Oh, okay. So it's got a cable on it or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the
Pretty
cool
cool.
thing is though, you know, you get a USB extension or something, man. You could get quite a ways with that, I'm sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun though. I'm pumped.
Yep, there goes the upload again. All right, that's telling me it's time to go, man. You want
All
to
right,
do your
guys.
outro?
Yeah, that's fine. You know, Fun in the Country Basement. We should really have like an ending theme song, like Mr. Rogers that we sing or something. It
Well,
feels appropriate.
listen here, you do the drums and do the vocals, and I'll do the humming. I'll do that.
We'll put that on the project list. We'll put that on the back burner. We'll get that done eventually.
I'm gonna
Yes,
put that in the backyard burner.
It's on my Jira board.
It's in the last sprint of the project.
That's right. Yeah, it's a program increment number 94.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough nerd talk. Yes, I'm Chris Riley. This is my basement. I am on the YouTubes with 3D printing and all that fun goodness. I am also Chris Riley 3D on Twitter if you would like to follow the crazy stuff that I've done lately over there. I don't remember what the last thing I posted was, but I'm sure it wasn't a great idea to do it. So that's why I did it. And that's pretty much it. Fun in the Country Basement is always awesome. FunCountryBasement.com. You can check out where the stream is going to be. Glenn usually says all this great stuff about these streams being pointless without all of you coming, because that is absolutely true. We enjoy interacting with you every week, and it's probably some of the best 2 hours of the whole week for me. So that's excellent. But I will give it to Walter.
Well, and maybe my microphone will hold up with this 160 kilobits per second that I'm getting out there. Coming to you live in 8-bit quality, maybe 4-bit quality. This is Walter, Kuntry 3D. You can find me everywhere at Kuntry 3D. And Chris so rightfully covered the FunCountryBasement.com. You can go out there and subscribe to all of us. Give us a thumbs up. Give us some ideas in the comments, and let us know topics you would like to discuss on Fun in the Country Basement, because, you know, coming up with them is all Chris's idea. And sometimes he just draws a blank, man. I don't know what it is. If I did it, we would never have any problems talking about something. But Chris, you know, he runs out of things. But anyway, we will see you the next time on Fun in the Country Basement. Next Sunday, it'll be hosted by Christopher Riley. And we should be here and having fun. Everybody, y'all have a great day. Anything else, Christopher?
That's it. See you later.
Bye-bye, guys.